Well, hello everyone. It's not a normal night for kicking old school, but I thought this kind of well, kind of took a reason for it. I know this comes as a bigger shock to everyone when this got revealed very late last night, uh, probably around 11:30, 12 o'clock Eastern time, about Shiloh. And it's never good for anyone's life to be cut short. Shiloh was actually younger than me. He was only 55, so he was in my opinion, a young man. And this show, I just want to maybe set some expectations. Um, I'm not going to go too much into what's going on with New Wave Toys. We'll touch just a little bit of it, but not going to go too much into it. I'm also not going to go too much into what had happened with Shiloh. I think that should come from his family and his close the company for any official statements. That's not what tonight's about. Tonight is really just to remember Shiloh and what kind of person he was. And I think that from the reaction, I'll bring some stuff up here in a little bit, but just stuff from what people are posting and saying says a lot about somebody. And I love that, and I know a lot of people have heard me say this a million times, including Shiloh. I mean, Shiloh knew this as well. We talked about it a lot of times. Is it's always great to be thinking and saying these things now, so people know who Shiloh was as a person, as a human being, as a brother, as a son, as a cousin, as a friend. Those are things you want to hear about someone, that they were a good person. They did a lot for other people, and that's a good thing. But the one thing I always say at the end of every single show, for my own reasons, is never wait to tell someone that. And you always want to let people know. Not necessarily you have to say you love them. I know I say that a lot, but just you're a good guy. I respect you. You're a good friend. I appreciate you. Just something along those lines while they're here, because that's when it matters. I mean, it still matters now because I'm sure Shiloh's listening right now. He's up with his maybe again, for him, a 1/6 scale chair would be like a full size chair for us. I know that, but it's always good to tell these people how you feel when they're here. Fortunately, um, before this had happened, I talked to Shiloh just 2 days before um, his life was tragically cut short. And we were talking about a lot of things. And again, I'm not going to go into all the different details, but I can tell you that Shiloh did not have a very good 2025 for a lot of reasons. Some were due to tariffs and other things that I'm experiencing as well. But he gotten injured a couple of times, and he was trying to get back to the states. I know his family. There's been some family members also that were not doing too well, and Shiloh was concerned about them. So he was kind of staying up in Canada. He's Canadian. He's from the great up north. Um, and then he had a hard time getting back. He had a hard time getting back because all stuff going on with the tariffs and the current. I don't want to get political. A lot of things are going on. He had a hard time getting back, and then he had gotten injured, and he basically damaged his one good eye. Cheryl had one eye that wasn't so good to begin with, and he damaged his other eye. So I don't want to say I don't know if he was actually blind, but he definitely had severe vision issues, which have impacted him doing things like reading emails and getting back to people. So that also wasn't a good thing. And but I had talked to him, and he was so excited. I talked to him literally right before Christmas. I mean, literally right before Christmas, and to wish him Happy Christmas and things along those lines, and Happy New Year. And he was so excited. The Ducks were finally getting back in a row. He's going to get back to the States, and he was all set to come on board and go make 2026 what 2025 should have been. Getting New Wave Toys back on track, getting product back out there, new announcements, all these things. He was so excited, and again, he had a couple of pretty serious injuries. I think most people would have been really down in the dumps, but that wasn't Shiloh. Shiloh said, "Listen, that's the past. I'm looking towards the future, man. Here it says, man. I had a lot of stuff to do, man, and I'm gonna make stuff better. I'm gonna come out kick ass. So I know New Wave Toys also made an email announcement today. And again, it's a little ambiguous, big word for me, ambiguous. Hey, I'm Italian and German. But the only thing I'm really going to comment on New Wave Toys is that New Wave Toys is not going anywhere. I just want to say that they are simply trying to get all the ducks in a row because Shiloh was the president, Shiloh was the CEO, Shiloh was the owner. New Wave Toys was Shiloh, but Shiloh and the other people in the organization made the company. It wasn't just Shiloh, but he was the main person there. Now everyone's got to pick up those things. Look at Steve Jobs. That's gonna be a great analogy for Shiloh. Is Steve Jobs? When Steve Jobs was at Apple, he ran it the way he wanted to run it. He got the projects going the way he wanted them to go. And then when they ousted him, Apple wasn't doing so good. And then when he came back, obviously everything went back the way it was. So I'm not saying that a New Wave Toys is going to go bad like Apple did. I just want to say that Shiloh is an analogy for like Steve Jobs, that he was the guy who did all the things. So now the other team members have to get up to speed on things that Shiloh was doing, talking to places and stuff along those lines. But that's, again, I don't want the show to be focusing on that other than to say that New Wave Toys is going to come out stronger than ever. They are going to make an announcement when they're ready, and they will communicate how the current projects are going and future projects. But right now shouldn't be about that. Right now it should be about Shiloh, the person. And I'm going to go through a couple of things I found, and we have people in the chat here obviously saying some things about Shiloh. And there's really nothing, honestly, you could say bad about Shiloh other than, damn, he was tall. He was a tall guy, 6'7" or something like that. I had to stand on chairs, but I still wasn't eye level with Shiloh. But as a human being, he was a very caring, funny. Didn't look for any drama. If someone gave him a hard time, it rolled off his back, and he's like, well, you live your life how you want to live it, and I'm going to live mine. And I think that's his upbringing from his mother and his family. His mother is a very charming, lovely lady, and my heart goes out to her and the family. I want to say that as well. That me personally, I want to convey my most serious condolences to Shiloh and his family, and even his little dog. Blue is even sad. You can see him down in the lower picture here. He's sleeping. He's not even looking for treats. He's kind of down in the dumps as well. So I think animals know just as much as everyone else. But I met Shiloh in Cleveland. That was the first time I actually met him. But I started way back when with his Kickstarter, which I'm going to pull up over here. And this was how he started right here. This Replicade centipede, which I happen to have right behind me as well. If I can pull it up right here, I still have mine. Is it this one? I think it's this one. There it is. So I backed that Kickstarter, and I'm not going to lie. When I saw some guy on Kickstarter saying, we're going to build a 1/6 scale man working centipede with a trackball in it, and it's going to work, and little mini coins in there, and the coin doors. I'm like, you know what? It was $99 at the time. I'm like, you know what? I can take a chance for $99 if this thing actually happens. And this is, I think, 2017 when this started, and they started shipping in 2018, right when like Arcade 1-Up and everything else was blowing up. But Shiloh was there a little bit early with this, and he delivered it. And it set the stage of who Shiloh was, because when this thing came out, not only was it a beautiful 1/6 scale centipede, it could have been just like that. You had a working trackball, you had the light up coin doors, you had the game. You could have stopped there. But Shiloh gave beautiful packaging. He gave for I think the backers, we got this light up coin door, a 25-cent coin door. He included these little tiny, now they weren't working yet in the Replicades. That came much later, I think around when Ghosts and Goblins came out, the coins started working. But he gave little mini coins and things along those lines. So Shiloh always wanted to give so much back to the community. And I think that's why I want to be here for him right now, is because I want any of his family members maybe watching the show, seeing that there's so many people in the community that really looked up to their son, their brother, their cousin, their nephew, whoever. Shiloh touched a lot of lives, and that's important. That that makes you more rich than anything. In my book, is being able to connect with people, showing you care, and bringing back such beautiful childhood memories that that's priceless. And that's kind of what Shiloh was doing. And he did everything he could to make sure that these machines were meeting or beating expectations, which is why I fell in love with the replicades. And I'm not going to lie, I purchased a ton of them. These are not all of them. I had no room to put all them out, but I pretty much have all of them, and then sometimes I have two of them because I keep my one in the box when I play. You know me, if I could afford the next one. So I bought these different machines here, and I love each and every one of them. Of course, they're still in a box because I'm insane. I know, but the boxes themselves were gorgeous, and I meant to take one down here. He started shipping these boxes in a box that looked like a crate. So Shiloh was always thinking about cool things for the community, and it's one of those things that I really hope we don't lose like in the future because Shiloh thought of these things, these little details. Like when the Dragon's Lair came out, he made a little small laserdisc player in there. Or when the Street Fighter 2 came out, there was a little door in the back with LEDs for a second control that was in there. When Food Fight came out, there was little pieces of gum and stuff you could stick on there. And it just really, it's a loss on so many different levels. Um, Again, we really got to think of the human level and the person who Shiloh was and the friend that he was to everyone. That's without question. But in our community, which is not the biggest, depending how you look at it, some people can say it's a big community. Other people can say it's fractioned into consoles and machines, whatever. Retro gaming, uh, people knew who Shiloh was. Other companies knew who Shiloh was. And Shiloh set, I think, a really good bar, a really good example through New Wave Toys on how people should interact with their customer base. Shiloh had no qualms with talking to people or engaging them, especially if he's at the shows. He'd walk right up to Shiloh, he'd be talking to you like he knew you your whole life. There was no smugness to Shiloh at all. If you went up to Shiloh, he would have bought you a beer. He would have bought you a cup of coffee. That's just who he was. When I was out in Cleveland, um, he had a bunch of replicades that were still left he didn't sell. He was literally just giving them people. You want a Cubert? You want an asteroids? You want this? He was just giving them to people, and people are like, I don't know who this guy is, and they take him. They probably didn't know what they got until they got home. Like, what the hell? Holy shit! This thing's a working machine. So I want people to understand that about Shiloh. 'Cause not everyone knows him like some people do, and I'm very lucky, very fortunate to have not only got to know him as a person, but I actually worked on the very last project that he did while he was on this earth with us, which was the Golden Tee. And I'm happy to see that he was able to see how successful that was. The Golden Tee was very successful. All the reviews I saw were spoken highly of it. He really put blood, sweat, and tears into that. And I'm happy he was able to at least see that one out the door um, and do this. And what's really sad about this is he passed away on December 27th. He was just he was just 55 and like a couple of weeks old. 55 and a couple weeks old. I'm going to be 57, and it's just so damn young. It's so damn young. And he had so much he still wanted to accomplish, and I'm confident that New Wave Toys is going to continue his legacy to bringing these machines and more things out in the future. And I guarantee you, I'm going to be supporting and working as best I can with New Wave Toys. I've already told them, anything I can do and my team can do to help New Wave Toys. GRS T-Sticks, we're on board to help you guys out to make sure that the company that is New Wave Toys continues. We can't let a company that's treated the community so well, that gives a quality product so well, We can't let those kind of companies go. We got to fight tooth and nails to keep it. I'm not saying that's the case here because I do know that New Wave Toys is okay. They just have to get everything in order before they start really communicating because they need to reach out to everyone else on what's going on with the company and what the roadmap is. But that's not for me to touch base on. I did want to pull up a couple of things here. So they New Wave Toys did send out a communication today, and basically, I mean, this is a great picture of Shiloh and his dog, and that dog was so friggin' adorable. You can see Blue is completely he's depressed. He is depressed. Um, but he did send a communication today. I'll read it out here in case you have not seen the email or if you just went to spam or whatever. But hello, New Wave friends. It is with heavy hearts that we share the news of the passing of New Wave Toys founder and chief mastermind, Shiloh Prychak. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. I never get people's names right. You know that, so I don't mean any disrespect if I am saying it wrong. The New Wave Toys team is understandably shaken, as many of us are, as we are so many of us who had the privilege of knowing and working with him. And fortunately, again, I had that same privilege of knowing him behind the scenes. And what you guys saw live or at the shows was Shiloh. There was no two Shilohs. It was all the same person. Shiloh's vision, creativity, and passion were the foundation of the company, and its impact on our team, our partners, and the arcade community cannot be understated. He poured himself into building something meaningful, and that the spirit will always be part of what he created. And that's where Shiloh will live on these machines that we all have and adore. During this time, current and former managers are coming together to help stabilize the business and keep things moving forward. We are committed to honoring Shiloh's legacy and the dream he worked so hard to build. As you may know, Shiloh had many projects in progress at the time of his passing. We know many of you will have questions about pre orders placed on those projects. Please know that our first priority is to come back to all of you with the concrete information as soon as possible. Thank you in advance for your patience, kindness, and understanding as we work through this transition and uh, continue to work he cared so deeply about. More updates will be shared as we're able to. Best wishes, New Wave Toys. And that's one of the things I also want to say here is that all of us are grieving for him in our ways, especially if you did know him or a part of the New Wave Toys community. But think of his family as well. Let's just give them a little bit of time to let the shock get through them. Again, Shiloh was very, very young. I understand that I lost my wife. She was 39. I was 40. And no one should be leaving this earth that young. But I think when people do leave that young, they have done such good work on this world that there was a place for them set up already, and they want to play some retro games up there. Me, I know I'll probably live to be a million. They're never going to take me up there. I'll be going down south for the summer, if you know what I mean. But Shiloh was a good person, and sometimes it's not fair when the good people go, but we can't change what happened. He is watching down on us, I believe. So hopefully we're going to continue to enjoy his consoles for many years to come. Another post was shared from Polycade, and I do know Tyler Bushnell, who was a son of Nolan Bushnell, the founder of Atari, and actually pretty much the creator of the entire video game industry, the arcade and home, was Nolan Bushnell and Atari. And his son with Polycade posted this on Instagram earlier today. I'd like to read that for you as well. With heavy hearts, we are sharing this news. This morning, we found out that Shiloh Prychak, founder and creative force behind New Wave Toys, has passed away. Shiloh was a visionary creator, passionate champion of the arcade culture, a collaborator, and a genuinely kind presence in the arcade gaming community. And that's something that I really hope permeates more, is more kindness in our community. Um, Life is too short, and this is a great example of life is too short. We don't need to be going attacking each other over things. We can have differences, and that's life. We're not robots, at least not yet. There's no AI chips in our brains just yet. We are individual people. We all have our differences of opinion, but we can make our opinions respectfully to one another. Where we go here. I'm going to start this part again. Shiloh is a visionary creator, passionate champion of the arcade culture, and a collaborator and a genuinely kind presence in the arcade gaming community. His creative drive and love for what he built will leave a lasting legacy and impact on everyone who had the privilege of working with him. Our thoughts are with his family, friends, and the entire New Wave Toys team during this incredibly difficult time. We believe his legacy will live on in the joy he created and nostalgia he fostered. He's helped preserve memories and brought gaming communities together. Rest easy, Shiloh. You will be deeply missed and always remembered. Very good words. And I appreciate Tyler and his team for posting that out here for Shiloh. Again, when you have other companies posting something like this, and you can read in the lines, it's genuine. It's not just a press release being sent out there that a company said, we got to look good in the community, so we're going to put something out there. You can read because you know Shiloh, and you can read what he wrote here. That is who he was. He was a kind soul who, like me and so many others out there, we care and fight for the community as hard as we can because we love the people in it. We love the legacy of these games. I always call them artwork. To me, these games that are created are not just games; they're art. They're the hearts, the soul, the mind of the creator or the company that brought them back. And Shiloh definitely put those little personal touches to let you know that he really cared about the product and cared that what you got when you opened that box brought you back to 19, well, in my case, 1977, 1976, 1972, when you got that first electronic game, whether it was a VFD, Coleco Pac-Man, or a Magnavox Odyssey, or an Intellivision, an Atari, or a Nintendo, or a PlayStation, that look on your face or the look on your kid's face when you first got that, that's what Shiloh wanted to really capture, more so than the game, more so than a product. He wanted when you open these things to really take you back to when all you knew was fun. When you thought you had to be older to enjoy yourself. And then when you get older, realizing, no, it's when you were a kid living at home. That was your magic time. That's when you had those TV shows. That's when you had these games that your friends came over and you played them. And you went outside and you came back in. And you found some quarters. You went down to the arcade. That's the magic Shiloh was really trying to capture and sell us all. And honestly, I think he did. 2025 was a cluster F for everyone. But up until that point, Shiloh did that. And if there was a problem, Shiloh addressed it. He didn't shy away from it. If there was an issue, he would make it right. Is everything perfect? No. But he definitely did what he can do. And I really thank Polycade, New Wave Toys, for sharing that. I did want to bring up here as well. When you look, you do a Google search. If you do just a Google search on New Wave Toys, I mean, look what you get. I mean, it's just pages and pages of not only product, but people talking about his product. It's other influencers, it's other companies, it's reviews, sure, but someone's life was touched by these products. Someone took one of these things out of the box, and those little tingles went off when you remembered you were a kid going in the arcade, and you mother or father gave you like $2. Well, in my case, it would be $2 on my allowance, and you were going to blow 8 quarters and hopefully find a quarter on the floor or find some cans you could trade in for a couple of quarters to play these games. Now you have the ability to have these in the home. And the beautiful thing about these are they were small enough where you can get a bunch of them and not have your wife murder you, unless you bought her a centipede or a game that she liked. But you can collect a whole bunch of them without taking up a ton of space. And there were so many fun games that have come out. And of course, some still waiting to come out. But I'm even looking at the Berserk here. Small touch you did here with this PCB. You press here, it opens up, and you have the PCB come out. This one is the one that started taking real coins. You could drop real coins in here to play the game. No, the 1942, which I don't know. Oh, taking me way off the bat here. I'm going to scoop over there. Frenzy, the Street Fighter game. You know, all these games bring back some type of memories for somebody, and it just goes on. Here's the keychain that he did. You press it, and it would light up, and it was just really a fun thing. It was metal. It was heavy as hell when you pick this thing up, and you know, Tempest. I remember when Tempest came out. I got one of the first ones, and I knew him at this point, and I had some problems with it. He tried to make it because the spinner was a clicky spinner. He wanted it to be when you spun it, it would continue to go to give you that effect of it spinning around and around. I'm like, Shiloh, I got to admit, I like the concept, but it didn't work. So he released other firmwares where you can keep that or not. With asteroids, he had these little trails, but ended up looking like sperm coming out of the ship. I said, Shiloh, and he came up with a firmware that got rid of those things. You can have those lines or not. So Shiloh had no problems addressing any of those things. And then I see Missile Command. I see you just brought up Missile Command here. And Missile Command was the first one with lens effect. Some people absolutely loved it. Some people absolutely hated it because sometimes it seemed like it was a little too much. I had mixed reviews on that one. I liked the idea of having a CRT effect, but the Missile Command was the first one, and it was a little too much. And he toned it down with the Frenzy and the Berserk. And I think those got dialed in really, really good. And Ghouls and Ghosts and Ghosts and Goblins, those I think came out really, really good. So again, Shiloh is very creative on what he does, and he tries to pass that along to us as best he could. We had an idea, and I can tell you for a fact, I talked to him a lot, and we brainstormed back and forth on a lot of things. He had some really good ideas, and some that I thought was really cool, but I didn't think they would really work. And we went back and forth on those type of things. But the point is, he wasn't going to just come out with a cookie cutter box and sell it to you. He wanted to sell you an experience. He wanted to sell you nostalgia. He wanted to sell you something that really you can't buy anymore, which is that feeling you get inside when you take yourself back to a time when you were happy. I'm not saying you're not happy now. I'm not mean to say we're not happy now, but there's definitely a difference when you're an adult and the pressures you have for being an adult, bills, your family, taking care of kids, work, cars, all these things. Versus a kid, where the thing is, what am I eating next? What am I pooping next? And what game am I going to play? Very different. And those times is what he was trying to sell everyone back to. I want to pull this up here as well. So again, people in the community reaching out, they're giving their thoughts to Shiloh and his family. Mike was saying here he was grateful. He's got to meet him in Cleveland. Such a wonderful person. I will cherish my food fight cab. He signed it for even more, so it's even more now. So that was nice. I don't think I never asked Shiloh to sign any of my stuff. I didn't even think about that. Rest in peace, Shiloh. You will be missed, brother. Thank you for all the amazing products you helped create. You will always be a collector. I will always be a collector of New Wave toys. My deepest condolences to the family and friends of Shiloh. Please let his family know the joy, and that's the key right here. Please let his family know the joy put into the world. His care of the craft, the detail, and the community was felt and appreciated far and wide. The basics of Buddhist economics is do the job that makes you happy, and you never work a day in your life. Every time I saw Shiloh speak about his products or the community, you could see that love he had for them. The world has lost the purveyor of joy. I will celebrate what he brought to the world tonight and try to do my part to pay it forward. Thank you, Shiloh. Sleep well, brother. This one's for you, Shiloh. Praying for his family during this time. Great guy. He will be missed. Glenn, saddened to hear this news. I always enjoyed your interviews with Shiloh on the show. He had great stories. You could tell he really loved the community. The community lost a really great partner and friend. Condolences to his family and friends. I love Shiloh's talk about the newest creations coming from New Wave Toys because he lived that product like many of us did as kids. His enthusiasm was so authentic. There was much fun to be had during his live streams. That there was. I will miss him. I will continue to support New Wave's releases in the future and hope the company will carry on Shiloh's corner of fun and nostalgia he brought the world. Brooklyn Menace just saying rest in peace. I know he's not happy either. I know he's not. And Messiah, sorry for your loss and condolences to friends and family. Many will rest in peace. And that was just a couple of things I would put on on my post today. And that's the key. It's not just me saying something to say something. Fix my stupid phone over here. What the hell happened? There we go. Other people saw that as well. You can't fake being genuine. I mean, you could try, but 99% of the people will pick out of the crowd someone who's fake genuine. Shiloh was not fake genuine. Shiloh was true to his word. I'm sure it's how his mom brought him up. We all have our pasts, and Shiloh had a past where he had a love of gaming and more than that, toys. He was starting to make some new toys and other things like that. Me, it was definitely the games and the cigarette machine and Zoltar. I loved Zoltar. Now, of course, we have the official page here. What did I do? Did I get out of it? I think I did. Let's go back to here. So I've been running the New Wave Toys official fan page since its inception, since pretty much 2018, when he first came out with the Centipede. And there's just been so much good stories being shared with Shiloh on here. Now this was me. Actually, you can see me standing on a chair. This is out in Cleveland. This was in 2024, and it was the first time I met Eduardo, who's on the left. That is his real height. Myself and Shiloh, and I am standing on a freaking chair. And Shiloh is just a gentle giant. He was just, when I met him in person, he was exactly who he was beforehand. He was just such a friendly person. And I will cherish my time actually meeting him out at the show. And you can see here, he will buy the machine. So when he's going to make a machine, he's going to get one, which is what I think all companies would do. I know that quarter scale, numbskull will do the same thing. You buy it this way, you can get the nooks and the crannies and the sounds and the feel and everything right. So Berserk was definitely one of my all-time favorite games, and he had that, and he loved his dog. He loved that little dog so much. I hope someone in his family is going to take care of him. And this was also at the 2024 Cleveland Gaming Classic. You can see P-Dubs, Mike be the Game Genie, and 19K Fox here. I was actually at my booth. Okay, I stayed in my booth most of the time. But you can see here, he would go up and talk to everyone. He was a genuine soul, and people just could talk to him, and he loved showing off his machines. He wanted you to play his machines. He wanted you to have fun. And that was what Shiloh was really all about. And it's one of those people that there's very few of them in the world, and we lost a good one. And that's Shiloh right there. That is him. Happy, peace. Don't let life stress you out. If something bad happens, let it go into the past. And I know that I'm saying it like I should know it. It's taken me 55 years to get to that point. But some people are smarter and get there quicker. And Shiloh knew what was important, and that was family, friends, and the community, and doing what's right. And he didn't let the negative people get on his case. He didn't do it. And this obviously is the post of the email I read before. But you can see here, I'm absolutely gutted to hear the news this morning. Shiloh's creations have become a big part of my 1/6 scale collection and had inspired me to build my own arcade cabinet to bring the atmosphere. I truly hope New Wave Toys continues to build on what he started. All the best from the UK. Rest in peace, Shiloh. So that this is when the community is showing at its best. It's almost like when you watch, like Independence Day, right? Where every country can't live together, but you have something from the outside, like an alien, come in to attack us, and now all the humans get together and we will fight for what's right. And that's what's happening right now. It's sad to me that we have to have these things happen before everyone kind of comes together, but it's just a reminder again, make sure you don't let people go on about letting you know how much you mean to them, because you're not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed in life at all except for death and taxes, and we all know that, especially the taxes. At least when you have the death, you don't have to pay the taxes anymore. I don't think you pay taxes in heaven, but I guess we'll find out when we get there one day. Well, I'll be down below, but you people will send me an email, a hotmail down south to let me know what's going on there. Um, and then Florence is Shiloh's mother, and my heart goes out to her. And people are sending very nice comments to her. She raised a fantastic son that tens of thousands, if not millions, of people around the world know who he is. He made a mark on our lives for the better. So I don't think there's anything more than a parent could ever wish for is for their child to be not only successful, but to be thought of in such a positive light. So I take off my hat to Shiloh's mother for raising such a good person that we all were fortunate enough to spend some time with, get to know of these past 7, 8 years in the products he's made for all of us. Now, Eduardo, I consider Eduardo to be like Mr. Spock or Chakotay or Riker. He was Shiloh's number one. When Shiloh said engage, Eduardo would make sure that that got engaged. And I do want to read what he posted here today, about 4 hours ago, on the Facebook page. Hey, bud. So it wasn't supposed to go down like this, eh? You were finally coming back to LA next month, and we were going to hit the ground running with all of your crazy, fun 2026 plans. What can I say, Shiloh? You changed my life. Thank you for that. You weren't just my 6'7" tall boss, but over time you literally became the big brother I never had. We shared many of the same interests, given our mutual love for all things pop culture, arcades, music, growing up in the 1980s and 90s. Helping you develop your creative ideas is something I will treasure forever. You have my word that I'll do my best to honor your next sorry. You have my word that I'll do my best to honor your New Wave Toys legacy. Thank you for letting me ride the ride together with you. Rest in peace, Shiloh. And he's not the only one. I will do everything in my power to help to make sure that Shiloh's vision for his company and his products continue well out into the future so that our kids and their kids can unbox, God, I don't know, maybe House of the Dead, further down the line. But that goes to show how many employees are that much with um, their company and their boss that they will do whatever they can to make sure that the legacy of New Wave Toys, the legacy of Shiloh, continues in the future. There's so many things that came through. There's so many posts. I don't know where to even begin. Eric says, I always loved when Shiloh was our guest on Glenn's YouTube show. I love what he created with New Wave Toys, especially that he was always trying new stuff. It wasn't just relaxing or releasing what was expected. I wish his family and friends the best. And that was the beautiful thing, is that he did absolutely that. He didn't want to meet expectations. He wants to exceed expectations. And that's why we got along so well, because that's my same vision. And I know this one, I want to read this too. Now, this is from Warren Davis. And Warren Davis, if you don't know who he is, I mean, now some young people might be watching the show. Warren Davis is the creator of Q*bert. So if you saw the movie Pixels, or if you saw Wreck-It Ralph, or if you play it in the arcade, Q*bert is actually down below. He's very sad, next to Shiloh, down by the candles. Warren Davis created Q*bert, and I want to read to you what he posted today, about 6 hours ago, when he heard about the passing of Shiloh. I am absolutely crushed to hear this news. When Shiloh first approached me about helping New Wave Toys with their Q*bert Replicade, I could immediately sense his enthusiasm and desire to get it perfect. He was a joy to work with, as was the entire New Wave Toys team, and I was very proud of the result. Shiloh and I appeared on several podcasts together, and he was always a fun, upbeat presence. Whatever setbacks New Wave Toys may have had, Shiloh brought a genuine love for the old games and a desire to help them live on. It's hard to believe he's gone. My condolences to his family and his colleagues. May rest in peace. Warren Davis. Now, again, you can't fake a person, someone of Warren Davis's caliber, someone who's been in the gaming community for a very long time, well respected, could sense, know, and deal with who Shiloh was and who New Wave Toys is as a person, as a company. And I had the pleasure of also meeting Warren Davis. In fact, I feel bad. I had to skip out on a dinner. He invited me to dinner, and I had to skip out. So next time he's in town, I promise I'll sit down with you. But Shiloh and Warren Davis got along together. I had them on my show as well together. And when the show ended, they were talking for a while. I mean, they had story after story after story. He's such a great person. Martin is saying, my sincere condolences to Shiloh and all of the arcade games that I have. I'm sorry, read this again. My eyes. My sincere condolences to Shiloh and all of the arcade games I have and have met him. Am I reading this right? Maybe I'm just screwing this up. My sincere condolences to Shiloh and all the arcade games I have, and I have him to thank very much for doing a wonderful job on making these. Okay, I'm probably just reading it really poorly, but again, this just goes to show you, I mean, these collections bring back so many memories to us all. I mean, it's really something that you can't fake it. You can't not thank the guy for doing this. Okay, we have one from Robert. My thoughts posted on a few pages. I've been a fan of the company since seeing some of their toys at Prague many years ago. I have a small arcade Dharma that I've been slowly adding over the years. Anyone that visits our game room is instantly drawn to the sights and sounds of the tiny arcade, complete with UV reactive carpet posters, backlighting, and even a micro boombox blasting away some old school hip hop or metal. Within the last couple of months, oh my God, I'm really reading for a while. Within the last couple of months, the company went more or less silent on pre-orders and the upcoming plans. People started to think the company was in trouble and started canceling orders and requesting refunds. Sadly, the truth of the matter was much more personal. Unfortunately, the founder and the face of the company was involved in a serious vehicle accident that left him in rough shape about the time things went dark. While I most wished him well and for a speedy recovery, there were those lingering, loud D-bags, and everyone's entitled to their opinion, poking fun at the whole situation, saying it was all made up as a way not to honor commitments, which absolutely is not the truth. Today, a communication of rumors and innuendos has collided with the facts that nobody wanted to hear. It's with great sorrow that those in the forums just found out he passed away just after Christmas. I never knew this man, although I may have potentially met him all those years ago when I was introduced to New Wave Toys. What he created was a small company that made incredible, accurate working arcade cabinets in 6 scale. A niche market would be an understatement. From the occasional live streams and everything I've read from those that were close to him, he was a solid dude. The whole point of this rambling is a simple reminder. Be kind to one another, including those selling us a product. We do not know the situation behind the scenes. These places are comprised of people who are passionate about the products they create and are about going home to their families or being around those that love them. Life is indelibly fragile. Never forget this. I have been guilty of rambling for long lead times and speculation over the unanswered email requests. That stops today. Rest in peace, Shiloh. So I don't want to. I don't know what I just. I don't want to ramble on either. I just wanted to spend some time tonight to let people know that New Wave Toys is going to continue, and I wanted to pay respects for someone who I definitely called. I'm launching my own YouTube channel. What am I doing here? Someone that really was a generally good person. But with that being said, and I say this all the time, and I'm going to keep saying it because I think it always needs to be said, is you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You can slip on a bar of soap in your tub. You can choke on a Kentucky Fried Chicken stick. You can have an aneurysm. I mean, I'm talking really horrible things, but we just don't know. Just don't. Oh, Blue actually woke up. Hey, buddy. Hey. You just don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So just make sure you let people know that they matter. And I'm going to tell you one other story, personal for me. My father, he was a wonderful person. You know, when you're a young kid, you don't realize it because your parents back in the 70s, they were tough. You know, you had to do chores, you had to do things, and they were tough. But when my son was born, I saw my real father, who was a big pushover, and I couldn't have done things without my dad. And I'm a big Halloween guy, so every year I do my house up really, really good. And 2015, my son was 10, and my father always came up on the weekends or he came up on the holidays. He always wanted to help, and he came up on Halloween, and I could tell. I can. It was one of those things in 2020 hindsight. You could tell he was a little subdued, you know. But you know, we talked. We had a good day, and then of course the day after Halloween is known as All Saints Day. So November 1st is All Saints Day. So my father had called me earlier that day, and he has a 2-family house, and the washing machine next door wasn't working. And I said, well, I got to get the decorations in today. I'll come tomorrow, which would be November 2nd. I'll come on November 2nd. I'll take a look at it. I know my father was stressing about it, but I didn't come down. This is still All Saints Day at 8 p.m. I get a phone call from my mother that my father was on the floor and is not responsive. I got my son and my brother, and they were half hour away. And I drove down there, and my father had passed away. Now, one key point I left out, which I'm going to tell you right now, is if I had not said something to him, not that I still am not saddened by it. I'm extremely saddened my father's passed. He was such a good person. But when I was talking to him on the phone and telling him I was going to be there on November 2nd, I couldn't come down on the 1st. I said, Dad, I really wanted to tell you I appreciate you and I love you very much. And, you know, I thank everything that you did. And he heard me tell him that. And fortunately, I was at my neighbor's house. My neighbor, Mary Parker, was there. And she heard me say it because I was like, did I say it? And she said, you did. Because I forgot I said that. Now, I still have regret that I didn't go down that day and help him because maybe I would have saw him have the heart attack. Maybe I could have saved my dad's life. But those are the things that will drive you crazy. You can't think like that. But I did tell my father, and I did, my friend Mary Parker was a witness, that I told him that I loved him. So he knew it. And then he passed. So this whole episode is really just to let you guys know in such in-your-face way is be kind to each other. We're in a community that we share the same love of things. You can have disagreements. You cannot like what someone says. You can just ignore it, scroll past it. You can voice your opinion. If you go back and forth, you walk away. Life is too short to not be enjoying stuff, especially this stuff here. Now, I'm going to admit, the community's gotten a ton better than it was back in like 2020, 2021. It's gotten pretty bad. But I think right now the people that are here realize that, we're all here on the same team. We all want to play retro games. We want to have fun with our friends and enjoy it. And I wanted to honor Shiloh tonight. I want Shiloh to, wherever he is right now, to know that his family, which is us, not just his mother, not just his parents and cousins and sisters and brothers, us, the community. We respect everything you did. We appreciate everything you did, Shiloh. Your life was definitely cut too short, but in the time that you were here, you didn't touch 10 people's lives. You didn't touch 20 people's lives. You didn't even touch 10,000 people's lives. You probably touched 100,000 to a million lives. Easy, if not more. And with all of our short time on this world, I can't think of anything more spectacular than touching that many lives. I wish you all peace. I wish you all tell your family and friends that you love them. I'll see you Friday. My heart goes out to everyone at New Wave Toys and his family and his mother. In between those times, have a good night, everyone. And please remember Shiloh.